In this wonderful old cemetery lies the subject of our next adventure.
Hey everyone, it's Cashew. Today's adventure brings us to Ironton, Ohio, to Woodland Cemetery, to the grave of one of my favorite writers/artists, Edward Gorey. And some of you may be familiar with him and some of you may not, but hopefully I'll be able to shed some light on his life and highlight some aspects of who he was. And maybe you'll enjoy him after I'm done with this and you'll check out some of his work as well. So let's go take a look. Our adventure starts here. Now let me forewarn you, if you come here to pay your respects to Edward and you expect to see some type of formal marker or monument, you're going to be disappointed. I spoke with the cemetery and a portion of his ashes have been buried on top of his mother's grave. And so when you visit his mother's grave, you'll be visiting Edward too. Now Edward's life and career had tremendous depth and breadth, and I won't be able to cover all of it here today. I'm just going to highlight some of it, and I'll go into more details in future vlogs. As I mentioned already, a portion of Edward's ashes are buried here with his mother, Helen, and she's buried here with her sister, Isabel. To the right of Isabel and Helen's grave is the grave of their father, Benjamin Garvey, making him Edward's grandfather. And next to Benjamin's grave is his sister, Emily Garvey. And finally, above their graves are the graves of Helen and Benjamin Garvey, and this would be Edward Gorey's great-grandparents. Edward Gorey was born February 22nd, 1925, and died April 15th, 2000. He was an artist and author of over 100 books, and some of you may recognize his work and not even know it. Back in the 1980s, his work had been turned into animation for the beginning of PBS's series Mystery. Edward was born in Chicago to Helen, who lies here, and his father, Edward Lee Gorey. And they divorced in 1936 when he was 11, and then remarried in 1952 when he was 27. One of his stepmothers was Corinna Murrah, who was a cabaret singer and had a small role in the classic film Casablanca as the woman playing the guitar while singing at Rick's Cafe. Edward's great-grandmother, Helen St. John Garvey, who you see here on the left, was a popular greeting card artist and writer during the 19th century, and it was from her he claimed to have inherited his talents. Edward served in the Army from 1944 to 1946, and when he was discharged, he attended Harvard University from 1946 until he graduated in 1950, and he studied French, and oddly enough, he was roommate with the poet Frank O'Hara. Ironically, even though Edward was such a prolific writer and artist, he described his art education as negligible at best. He only attended the Art Institute of Chicago for one semester. From 1953 until 1960, Edward worked at the art department for Doubleday Anchor Books and illustrated book covers for numerous writers, including H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds and T.S. Eliot's Old Possum's Book of Practical Cats. Also in 1953, Edward published his first independent book called The Unstrung Harp.
One New York Times article cites Andreas Brown, owner of Gotham Bookmark, for launching Gorey's career. In 1977, Edward Gorey designed the set of Dracula for Broadway and actually won a Tony for Best Costume Design and was nominated for a Tony for Best Scene Design. Much of Gorey's work has Victorian or Edwardian settings, and many people who really did not know Gorey's work very well thought he was British. Later in his life, Gorey would write and direct puppet shows featuring papier-mâché puppets that he made himself, and even create an ensemble known as, well, I can't pronounce it because it's in French, so I'll place its name right here. Gorey was a collector, and now you can see those items in his house because it's been turned into a museum. But before it was a museum, it was just his house. And when he died, a photographer named Kevin McDermott obtained permission to photograph the house before people came in and started moving things around. Gorey was a cat lover, and I think at the time of his death, he had 4 cats, and the last to pass away was a cat named Jane. After Gorey's death, a bulk of his estate was left to charitable trusts for cats and dogs, as well as bats and insects. In 2007, the Jim Henson Company announced plans to make a film about The Doubtful Guest, which is one of his most famous books. Sadly, there's been no word of it since. Even today, Gorey influences writers as well as musicians. Daniel Handler, who's also known as Lemony Snicket, sent Gorey the first 2 volumes of his books and wrote him a note telling him how much he influenced his work. And Gorey has done a project with the Tiger Lilies called The Gorey End. And in 1976, jazz composer Michael Mantler did an album called The Hapless Child, which is based on some of Gorey's works. Some people would include Gorey's work in the genre of nonsense literature, along with people like Edward Lear and Lewis Carroll. And in an interview I'd seen years ago, Gorey actually mentions liking the work of Edward Lear and Lewis Carroll.
I have to admit, it is an absolute thrill to be able to visit the grave and pay homage to one of my favorite artists and writers of all time. I mean, if you've never read his work, he has dark humor. He mastered cross-hatching unlike anybody I've ever seen, with the exception of maybe Robert Crumb, but they definitely did 2 types of subject matter. But definitely check out Edward Gorey's work. And if you're unfamiliar with it, I would say start with The Doubtful Guest and the Gashlycrumb Tinies. And be sure to check out Kevin McDermott's book, Elephant House, where you see photographs of Edward's house shortly after he died. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. In the description box down below, I have links to my Teespring for Cashew Paul t-shirt, coffee mug, and tote bag. And I'll also have links to my PayPal, my Patreon, if you'd like to help me take my adventures further. So until next time, everyone, this is Cashew, signing off.